Hey everyone, this is Gilberto from Maverick Media Lab, and here with Tyler Torres, one of our clients, who's going to be talking about his experience with Maverick Media Lab and how the realtor appointments have been going, and just giving us his honest feedback on the results and what his thoughts are on our service. So welcome in, Tyler. Appreciate you sharing your time with us.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
Awesome. And just give whoever's watching here for this video, give them a quick intro about yourself and how you got to the mortgage industry.
Yeah, sure. So 16-year Army veteran, turned mortgage loan originator. I started this about 8 months ago. My brother got me into it. He's also a part of the veteran mortgage team who I'm working with now. We're an all veteran branch under Cardinal Financial, literally everybody from processors to the owner. He'd been trying to get me to do it for years. I'd gotten licensed, but just wasn't really pursuing it. Was working at Amazon once I got off active duty, just not where I wanted to be, and was able to kind of hit the ground running coming over here. But I've done sales. I've been on and off active duty for the last 16 years. So I've done sales. A little different, right? Because people are coming to you, they want a loan to get a house. That's my job, is to find out a way to do that. But it's still sales. And at the end of the day, the thing that I hate the most about sales is cold calling. But in order to build relationships in this industry, you've got to reach out to realtors and introduce yourself and build that rapport with them. So I think that's how I ended up here and how I ended up with Maverick, which I can't say anything bad about at all. Okay.
At which point did you join? So you became a loan officer 8 months ago. At which point, how many months in did you hop on with us? Was it?
Yeah, it was almost instantaneous. I mean, I was probably a month into the industry. So I'm brand new, and I know most people come here because they've been in the industry for a while and their pipeline's running dry and they're just reaching for straws. I was just from the get-go, I don't have to call people. Let me do the math here. If I get one referral, it pays for it. So if I close one loan, it pays for it. So that's kind of what brought me here, was just, I will pay that money to somebody to cold call and set up appointments, give it the trial. I mean, the guarantee that you guys have of setting exactly, setting X amount of appointments and also generating X amount of referrals. I mean, to me, it was a no-brainer. So
love it. What was I guess before, in those 2 months, before 1 or 2 months before you got started with us, what were kind of those activities, or what was the way that you were kind of attempting to get business? Was it did you try doing the cold calls and you were just man, this sucks, I don't want to do this? Or what were some of the things you were doing to get realtors?
No, absolutely. So, I mean, from the beginning, it was just Facebook. I was trying to build my brand, reach out. But so it's still stuff that I use today. So I'm still doing my own marketing. Our company has a big marketing agenda, partnering with insurance companies for referrals and stuff like that. But I said, my brother, who actually is also a client of y'all's, which I find out afterwards. So I'm like, son of a but he's been in the industry for a few years, and he's what we call the realtor killer. I mean, he just makes connection with realtors, and that was what he was telling me from the beginning. You got to get on the phone with realtors, you got to reach out to realtors. And I'm like, I know, but I don't really have anything to say at this time. So I mean, it's just introducing myself, and it's been Facebook. It's been, we have a referral network that comes in from Facebook groups that we have. So that was pretty much it. Just putting myself out there, doing the cold marketing, if you will, trying to get my brand out. And with this, it was so my thing is in sales, you got to get the 3 yeses. So my thought was, if I've got somebody else calling somebody and they're saying yes when they answer the phone, they're saying yes to setting an appointment with me, and then they're answering the phone when I call, they need something. So it's my job at that point to figure out what they need. and also in this industry, I mean, especially realtors that have been here for a long time, they've got their preferred lender. They don't, that's not what they're necessarily looking for, is another lender to build a relationship with. But some of those, their preferred lender is retired. Their lender can't do this type of loan like we do, one-time close construction loans, which is like the unicorn in the industry for VA. Or they don't have a preferred VA lender. And that's kind of where I'm at, is when I get on the call with these realtors, I introduce myself, I say, hey, this is who I am, this is what I do. I completely understand, especially if you've been in the business for a while. What I would like to do is, if your preferred lender doesn't answer the phone at 7 o'clock on a Sunday night and you need a pre-approval, give me a call. If you don't have a preferred VA lender, if you want to send your veteran clients to another veteran who understands and is an expert in VA lending, let's go. And if you don't have anybody that can do one-time close construction loans, love to be that person as well. And then, depending on how the conversation goes, it's, are you having any issues with, your list? And I say, I want to bring something to the table. So here's what I have to offer. These guys that I work with, they will call and do warm transfers for all your cold call client list. So, I mean, that was kind of going on a tangent, but at the end of the day, that's all stuff that I don't have the time to do. And so from the beginning, it was just like, I don't have to call, I don't have to market. Let's go.
Let's go. Love it. And talk about like now. So like fast forward from like that 1 month mark to like now. I know like you're crushing it now, like compared to, you mentioned the other people on your team. So talk to us a little bit more about that. Like what's been the progression since, like 1 month in to like now we're like 8 months in. What does that look like? What's been the change?
Sure. So, I mean, I've always been a fast learner. I mean, I started out as an enlisted infantryman in the Army, and I'm now got promoted below zone to major as an engineer officer. So my ability to adapt and learn really quickly is probably one of my biggest strengths. So from the beginning, obviously, like just being cold in the water, having to learn things on my own, I've learned a lot. My pipeline has grown exponentially just from the beginning. But being able to talk to realtors all the time without having to source them has given me the confidence, the ability to more quickly assess the issues that realtors might have and how I can partner with them to help them solve their problems. So I mean, I think at the end of the day, I expect to continue, growing, maybe not exponentially, but being able to now get on the phone with realtors and be like, oh yeah, I'm working with this person, that person. I mean, that's also part of sales, right? I sold books door to door in Ann Arbor, Michigan in college. Like that's part of the pitch. Oh, you know this person, that person, this person, that person. Cool. I work with all of them. Or, I was just talking to this person who also works in your brokerage. So it's I've definitely been able to like grow. Just there's too many areas to even put it into one pile. I've grown a lot. And I definitely attribute a lot of that to you guys and just being able to, I mean, I've got 60 realtors that I have contacted, or you guys have contacted, set appointments, said yes. They don't always answer the phone, and I don't expect that. What's the golden ratio of sales is like 30%. So if I've got 60 appointments, hoping to talk to 20 of them. So, it's
especially with the top producing one, we usually find like those are usually like require several follow-ups. That's why we have like Jordan, which it sounds like you've talked to several times. So like we can go in there and like reinitiate the conversation, contact them back, and then get them back on your calendar. So I think just in general, I think most loan officers know that like real estate agents are like notorious for like not showing up to like their calls or meetings because they're like on call and stuff.
I get it. I mean, Same
introducing
boat,
them.
right? I
Yeah,
answered the phone with you and I'm on the phone. I got
yeah.
my phone's went
On
off.
call talking to the clients. Yeah, it's the same thing with loan officers. Yeah, very true. And I guess for you, like, what do you see? Because you come in with I would say a better mindset than like usually most do, and it's probably from like you mentioned you have your brother and like kind of some mentorship there, so you
Yeah.
kind of understand the game almost as if you were in the game for like years now, right? But you only have 5 months, like 5 years. Sorry, you only have 8 months, but it's almost like you had 5 years. And one of the things that I found that interesting about what you said was like the beginning where you were kind of like already mentioned, like, yeah, I mean, if I can get like one deal and like this is gonna pay for like everything. Usually, like I find newer LOs don't really think in that same way. So I guess
Right.
you've seen your peers around, like what have you noticed has been the difference between like yourself, which you're crushing it right now, like yourself and like maybe the other loan officers that are newer off or maybe have been in the industry like for years, but
Yeah.
aren't doing like that type of production you're doing right
I
now.
think,
What do you think is that difference?
no, great question. I think it's multifaceted. I think there's different issues for everybody, right? But I know one of the biggest things, you know, you can get burnout real quickly. If you're working from 7 a.m. in the morning to midnight every night, you're going to get burnout, especially if you're not seeing results, you're not getting those referrals. And by referral, like contracts, right? It's one thing for a realtor to send you somebody, you send them a pre-approval, but when you get that contract back, like that's the game changer. Because plenty of realtors will throw you the bones of, hey, can you like they know they're not going to be able to get this person qualified, but they send it over to you and you find a way to get it done, and then either nothing ever comes out of it or whatever. So there's burnout for one, especially being new. Number two is just not knowing what you're doing and not knowing what your role is. And there's different, you got originators and brokers, and both are originators, but just for simplicity, if you're brokering, you're probably going to be working a lot more on your back end. Like you're having to take the loan all the way up and process and all that other stuff. If you're on the lender side, you probably got a loan officer assistant, and then you've got processors and everything else. So your job is to get it to underwriting in the beginning, send out the pre-approval, and then follow up with the realtors. Like my job is more front end, and so it's hard to just pinpoint one thing in the industry that people struggle with. But I think for myself, luckily, this is a 100% commission job. So, and people that are in that similar situation, if they don't have the padding to look at, the cost of doing this, it's hard to see that ROI, especially if it's not immediate. I mean, Justin, he had one appointment, one referral, one contract. It paid for it, well ahead of time. But like I said, I mean,
Yeah.
he's been crushing it for a couple of years. So, I didn't expect that. I expected, hey, I'm going to start talking to realtors. I'm at least going to get my name out. If I can keep my name in the back of their mind, or in the front of their mind as much as possible, sorry, then, at a bare minimum in the back, oh, I remember talking to this one guy. Now I've got this VA line. He's a veteran. I'm going to call him. Oh, I remember talking to this one guy about construction loans. I'm going to call him. Like that was my goal. So I do think obviously like the cost, if you can't correlate the return on the investment to the cost of it, and you can't see that, man, if I just get one loan, like this is totally worth it. And it's hours of my time. And at the end of the day, time is money. If I had to sit here trying to cold call realtors all day, every day, then I can't focus on the applications that I've got. I can't focus on my own marketing campaign. I mean, I'm still on Facebook. I'm still adding new people. I'm still, doing that stuff on my own. But I mean, two great examples. Number one, two of the referrals that I've got. Number one was when I was at Amazon, one of my area managers, whose sister was my babysitter while we were working, come to find out his uncle is a real estate agent. And y'all set an appointment with him. And so, it was like a nice little cakewalk in, but I probably wouldn't have made that connection for a long time. Another one happens to be a really good buddy of mine's cousin, and his whole family's in real estate. So You know, it's stuff like, and then I've got the person that sold me my house, the real estate agent, like she's been in the industry for 30 something years, and she's been like, hey, I'll throw you a bone. I still haven't gotten anything from her, but y'all called her and she texted me and she's like, can you please ask them to take me off the list? I promise you I'll throw you something sometime. And I'm like, well, I'm going to keep you to that. Otherwise, I'm going to have them continue to call you to set up an appointment. Know me better, even though I've known you for almost 30 years.
That follow-up.
So, yeah, but you know, like I said, people that are new to the industry, this definitely helps. There's a lot more things that they can be doing and should be doing on their own. So, you know, maybe they need to get to that point where they realize, crap, it's not working for me. And then now they come to you guys to be like, hey, yeah, look, we've worked with this person, we work with that person. We've done people from the beginning and people that are, you know, well into their career. And you're in somewhere in between this timeline if you're a loan officer. If you're in the beginning, here's the strategy that we're going to take. You know, if you're at the end, here's the strategy that we're going to take. And I think you guys being able to tailor that, you know, helps out a lot. It could be, you know, very beneficial. But it's, you know, at the end of the day, man, you're spending money. It depends on what you're spending money on, right? Somebody can go out buy a $50,000 car and do, oh, it's great, you know, and buy a $50,000 car that has no return on investment whatsoever. Versus, oh, you know, I got to pay, you know, a few $1,000s to get somebody to gain me money and relationships. And I mean, it's not for everybody, but I think the people that can see that, it'll definitely be beneficial for. Like I said, I mean, it is for me. So as soon as I close this one, we're just waiting for appraisal and title to come back. Like that will have pretty much paid for everything. So
That's awesome.
And
yeah, it sounds like for you, you said what?
And I've gained a friend out of it. Like she and I are great friends now. I mean, so yeah.
That's awesome. Love hearing that. And it sounds like you also kind of like viewed it as more of like an investment, whereas like it sounds like others kind of view it as like a sunk cost, where like
yes,
it's kind of like you're parting ways with money. Whereas like for yours, like, and I've noticed this with like other successful clients of ours too, that really crush it with our program. Like they view it more of a like, yeah, this is like no brainer. Like I'm cashing. One of our clients said a very interesting quote. It's like, I'm giving small checks to get bigger checks later. So it's like, I'm, you know, giving money to do this. And then like in return, I get these relationships that are gonna like give me deals for like however long, for like years. So yeah, that's a interesting, like kind of differentiating point that I've seen between different LOs. And one thing I was curious too, like I'm sure like now that you're been 8 months in, you probably got like a lot of calls of like marketing people and all that stuff, like your emails, calls, all that stuff.
All the time. Yeah.
Constantly. What made you decide to move forward with us as compared to like, you know, like the thousands of other options that you have?
I mean, I think y'all kind of got to me like in the very beginning, and I'd had some other people, but you know, I think the caliber of your company and people that you worked with and other testimony. I mean, I had another guy reach out to me that said, hey, you know, you're working with these people, like, you know, what's the cost? What's this? And I'm like, I mean, yeah, I had almost that same conversation. Depends on how you look at it. If you look at it at a cost, it doesn't matter. It's a cost. You're losing the money. But I mean, for the investment, you know, it's going well for me. I need to actually put more work into it because it's there. It's free chicken. But I think, you know, that was one of the bigger things. You know, I was able to look up your company, the Better Business Bureau, all that stuff. And, you know, I felt comfortable with that. I had a good chat with you, with Angelo, with, you know, everybody that I've worked with so far. And I've gotten the positive feedback since I've been working with you from the other real estate, because I asked that, like, hey, you know, how was your contact? You know, is this who set the appointment? Like, blah, blah, blah. And I mean, it's just been nothing but positive feedback. So I don't think you guys look at this as a check the box thing. That I didn't get that feeling from the beginning. Like it seemed like this is something you were real invested in. I mean, you stake your reputation on it. You're leveraging your reputation that's built off of working with people like me and every realtor that you call. So, you know, yeah, I mean, I think I just felt kind of, and I've had other people reach out and be like, hey, we do this. I'm like, hey, I'm actually already working with this other company. Like things are actually going really well. So, and I also think just not, I mean, just brutally honest, like I didn't know anybody else, like I didn't have anything to compare things to. So I just had to go with my gut. And usually it's kept me alive so far. So I trust it.
Love it. Yeah, usually we'll get similar feedback. Even with people that hop on with us for the first time, it's like, yeah, like I didn't even know this was like a service. Like most people have heard of like lead gen through like Facebook ads and like that
Yeah.
kind of stuff, and like Google ads, like Zillow. But like, yeah, I didn't actually know that this was something that people offer. Yeah, very, very low competition on that.
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I did think it was unique. I mean, that, it's not, hey, we're going to run your ad. And then if somebody comes in, we're going to send them over to you. And I'm like, I can do that myself.
Yeah.
I needed action. I needed people to like get on the phone, because that's how you build relationships. And again, that's my own strategy, is reaching out to people on Facebook. And, if they add me, my first thing back is like, hey, I appreciate the ad, 16-year Army vet, all veteran lending team, just, something similar. If I see they've got a football team, like go Dogs, if they're Georgia fans, or like, just something like that, anything outside of the industry. And then,
Right.
let me know if there's anything I can ever do to help. And I've made some good relationship with realtors that way. But I mean, at the end of the day, I can't get everybody, so.
One thing I was curious about, I always like to ask, like at the end, like what would you say to, like, because this is going to be like a testimonial video on our site, what would you say to the person who's watching this like right now, and who maybe already hopped on a phone with us, or maybe they've heard of us and they're like about to hop on a call with us? Like, what would you say to that individual about moving forward with this?
I'd say, like, don't hesitate. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're in a market and you're trying to if you're wasting your time cold calling people, I don't want to say wasting, because you should still be doing it too. It's not like I'm not calling anybody because you guys are calling them and I'm expecting you to do it, right? But you got to look at marketing as a multi-tiered approach. There's only so much I can do with my time. I only have one phone. I can't call 4 people at once. So I'm leveraging that. I'm leveraging you guys to do that for me. I'm calling somebody, you're calling somebody, you got a couple people calling somebody. Like that's more marketing. At the end of the day, that's more of your name getting out that has the ability to come back to you. And again, I mean, if you look at it as a cost, it doesn't matter if it's you guys or anybody else. You're never going to be able to view that. But if you look at this as an investment and look at the potential for the ROI, it's a no-brainer. I mean, like I said, close one deal, it pays for itself. So,
Like you're about to do pretty soon. Nice.
Right. And exactly. I mean, I get this one closed, I get the next one closed. And now, like I said, it's not a cost, it's an investment. So
Love it. Awesome. Well, Tyler, I really appreciate your time. I know you got a lot of stuff in the pipeline and in a big to-do list, it sounds like, for like back end and front end stuff. So really appreciate your time and for choosing us to help you get more realtors. You've been an amazing client, and like I'm just super excited to, like, more so than all like the different types of clients, like it's super exciting to like help someone who's like newer, because like the effects that they see from it is just like you could see it a lot more as compared to maybe like, like Justin, where it's like he's already killing it, like he kills it even more.
It's just an extra play in his playbook, whereas this is the majority of my playbook.
Yeah, and it just like makes bigger impact, which I absolutely love. So once again, thank you. I really appreciate you, Tyler.
No, thank you.